Of digital classes. Children, before going to the session, let me ask you some questions. Children, how many of you stay in your house? Your parents, you and your siblings, maybe your brother or sisters. You would like them to listen to you, right? If you have elder brothers and sisters, then you fight with them. And the same way, do you have the same opinion of what your parents are telling you? Do you always obey your parents? Very good if you obey your parents, but you always have a difference of opinion with your parents. This was not the same thing when you were small. You always used to obey your parents, but now you have a little bit differences with your elders, maybe brothers or sisters, or even with your parents. Why? What is the problem going on? Is it the problem in your mind or the problem in your body? Your elder brother and sister or your parents keep on telling you something and you always have a fighting with them. Let it be boys or girls, you always have a difference in opinion, especially in this age. Children, when you were small, you always used to obey your parents. Slowly when you grow up, your mind starts thinking about many things. Your mind is occupied by studies, and then one day you become totally grown up. But what are the different changes occurring in your body when you are very young and now when you are grown up? There are so many changes in between happening in your body. Let it be girls. When they were too small, they always had so much of happiness in them. Slowly when they grow up, there is a lot of confusion, and slowly when they become old, their total body changes. So, in this lesson we will be learning what are the different changes going on in your body once you reach the age of adolescence. So, the name of the lesson is reaching the age of adolescence. What is adolescence, children? The time period which comes between the beginning of the adulthood and the puberty is called as adolescence. Then what is puberty, children? Puberty is the time in life when a boy or a girl becomes sexually mature. You are totally grown up when you reach a stage of puberty, children. So, it is a process that usually happens between the ages of 10 and 14 for the girls and ages of 12 and 16 for the boys. This is the age of puberty. What are the changes occurring? There are physical changes which affect boys and girls, but differently based upon their genders. So, now you all are called as teenagers. So, adolescents are also called as teenagers. After 10 years, 11 to 19 years, the child is between 11 to 19 years, they all are called as teenagers or adolescents. So, I was asking you some questions. You all are of different moods. Sometimes you like to obey your elders and sometimes you are totally confused. So, this is all due to the different chemicals which are disturbing your body. What are those chemicals called as? They are called as hormones which bring different changes in your body. So, teenagers are mostly moody. So, let us see why are the teens so moody. Children, in this adolescence period, the body undergoes a lot of changes due to the reproductive maturity. So, it starts from the age of 11, I was telling you, and it ends till the age of 19, so teenage. This period of adolescence is different from one person to another person. The period of life when the body undergoes changes, it brings out a maturity in the reproductive organs, and now the child totally develops into an adult. Now let us learn what is puberty. It is a period every human body has to undergo. It brings out some changes in the body. The reproductive organs change and it leads to sexual maturity. The very important change that occurs in the boys and girls is the development of the reproductive organs. Now they become capable of reproduction. Now in girls, puberty begins 1 or 2 years early than the boys. What are the changes occurring in the body, children? Every individual has different changes going on in their body. Children, these changes are different from one person to another person. Then what are the changes physically you can see in a boy or a girl? You might have seen that last year you were not so tall, but now this year your height has increased, body has changed. In some boys, the voice also changes. There are so many changes going on, not only in the girls, even in the boys. So always you are in a confused state because you don't know what are the changes going on in the body. You don't know the reason behind the change that occur in your body. These all changes are occurring due to the development of sex organs in your body. The mental, intellectual and the emotional maturity takes place in this age. You should be very much balanced so that you will not get confused. The reproductive health should be really taken care in this age. The physical and the mental balance should be done. That is very important for every individual's health. Children, during adolescence, the reproductive organs, they start developing and become functional. So, the reproductive health and their growth should be managed. Secondary sexual characters keep changing in a girl's body and in a boy's body. Let us see this picture. See this girl when she was 7 to 8 years old. See, she is so small, and as she grows up, you can see the body keeps changing, and now she is totally grown up. There are many changes occurring in the body. You can see the picture. Now, this is a picture of a boy. He is very young, and when he comes to the adolescence age, he develops mustaches, he develops different changes in his body. So, these are the external changes which you are able to see. There are internal changes also going on in the body. Let us see what are they. Children, a boy and a girl are totally different externally and internally. Now, in this picture you can see this is the neck of a boy or a man, I should say. You can see protruding larynx. Protruding means it has grown outwardly. So, this part is called as Adam's apple. Here also in this picture you can see this is the neck region, you can see this is the beard, this is the shoulder. So, in between the neck you can see the larynx has protruded out near the throat. This part is called as Adam's apple. Children, this development is due to the chemicals, as I told you. What are they called as? Hormones. So, the larynx has become more prominent. You can see the development mainly in this puberty. Now, due to this, the vocal cord becomes thicker and longer, and that is why at this stage the voice becomes harsh. And in female, can you see this? No. So, the larynx is small in female, and that is why there is no much change in the size of the Adam's apple. Therefore, the girls have high pitch when compared to the boys. The boys have deep voice and a bass voice, whereas girls, they have small larynx, they do not have Adam's apple. The girls have high pitched voice. Now, let us see the secondary sexual characteristics in the girls. The enlargement of breast can be seen, the growth of body hair prominently in the underarm and pubic areas, widening of the hips, the changed fat distribution takes place, more fat is getting deposited under the skin. At the hips, buttocks and the thighs, the development of secondary sexual characters takes place, and mostly the menstruation cycle starts at this age. The cycle of these changes in women takes place every month, and children, this cycle is called as menstrual cycle. When an ovum is unfertilized, the uterus lining sheds off. That means the uterus lining slowly comes out of the body and it leads to hemorrhage. This is called as menstruation. The first day of bleeding is marked as the first day of menstrual cycle, and the period from one menstrual cycle to another varies from 28 days to 30 days. Children, this is female reproductive system. These are the two ovaries, fallopian tubes. This is the endometrium lining present in the uterus. Children, you can see the endometrium lining is thick, and after some days when the ova is not fertilized, slowly this lining comes out in the form of blood. So, this is a reproductive cycle of females. It begins in the puberty, and the onset of menstrual cycle is called as menarche. The process includes cyclic changes in the ovaries and in the uterus. Children, this cycle mainly depends upon the ovaries. In the ovaries, ova is developed. Now, see this reproductive system, children. What are produced in the ovaries? Ova or egg. One single egg is called as ovum. This ovum is produced by the ovary. It develops, matures, and then it is released. The fallopian tube absorb it, and this ovum stays for a particular time in the fallopian tube. It waits for the sperm to fertilize it, but if the ovum is not fertilized, it reaches the uterus. So, in the uterus you can see there is a thick spongy inner lining. It develops anticipating the pregnancy. That means, here this uterus makes itself ready for the fertilization of the ovum. If the egg is fertilized in the fallopian tube, then the fertilized embryo reaches here. But if the fertilization does not take place, then the released egg and the thickened lining of the uterus along with the blood vessels are shed off. This causes bleeding in the woman. It is called as menstruation. This happens till the lady reaches the age of 45 or 52. Afterwards, the menstrual cycle stops. That means, a lady can reproduce only up to an age of 45 to 52, only till she has a good menstrual cycle. If the menstrual cycle is active, then only she can reproduce. The stopping of the menstrual cycle is called as menopause. Children, the years between the menarche and the menopause are marked as the reproductive age of woman, where she is able to bear a child. Now, see this cycle, children. This is a menstruation cycle. Children, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is happening in these 5 days? The uterine lining breaks down and the menstruation occurs. Now, from 6 to 10 days, slowly again the uterus get back to its own work. What is its work? Thickening of the Uterus. Endometrium lining becomes thicker, and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 days, the uterus waits for the ovum to reach. That means ovulation occurs. The ovary produces ova. The egg reaches the fallopian tube, and from there it reaches the uterus. And now slowly from 24 to 28 days, the uterine lining continues to thicken, and now it knows that the fertilized egg is not going to reach it, and that is why it sheds off, and slowly the blood comes out. This is called as menstrual cycle. Children, let us see what are the phases of menstrual cycle. The first phase is menstrual phase. Day 1, the uterus lining, which is prepared for implantation, starts to shed off, which lasts for 3 to 5 days. So, day 1 to day 5 is the menstrual phase. Follicular phase, a matured egg follicle releases an egg from one of the ovaries. The uterus starts preparing for another pregnancy. The third phase is ovulatory phase. The mid-cycle phase, this is the phase in which the ovulation takes place, that is the day from 13th to 17th day. The end of the follicular phase along with the ovulation period defines the fertilization period. Here the ovum waits for the sperm to reach the fallopian tube and it waits for fertilization. Then the last phase is luteal phase, the post-ovulation phase where the fate of the corpus luteum is decided. If fertilization occurs, the pregnancy starts. If fertilization does not occur, it marks the onset of another cycle. So, slowly the uterus sheds off its blood vessels and the blood is given out. Now, let us come to the next topic of the lesson, the endocrine system. As I was telling you, the different changes in your body are taking place because of the different chemicals present in your body. Children, what are these chemicals? Where are they coming from? Why are they disturbing our body? These are all the different questions we get in our mind, right? As we know that we have different systems working in our body. Some systems are called as exocrine systems and some systems are called as endocrine systems. Exocrine systems means they have a very important function of releasing some secretions which are directly given out in the blood vessels. They have ducts like liver, it gives out bile juice, it has a bile duct in which the secretions are done. Children, we have some organs called as endocrine systems. They do not have any ducts, that means they do not have any canal system, and so they secrete some chemicals called as hormones. These hormones are released directly into the blood. So, they are mixed up in the blood directly. So, endocrine glands do not have duct, so they are called as ductless glands. Endocrine systems are present in our body. Mainly the very important gland present is within the brain, that is the pituitary gland. It is called as master of all the glands. Now, let us see where are they placed in our body. Children, these endocrine systems are present both in the male body and in the female body. The very important pituitary gland is present in the brain. Thyroid gland is present on the throat. It is a butterfly shaped gland. Then parathyroid gland is present behind the thyroid gland. Children, we have adrenal gland present above the kidneys like a crown on the kidneys. We have pancreas near the stomach and testis in the male and 2 ovaries in the females. So, these are all the different endocrine systems which play a very important role by secreting chemicals called as hormones. So, what are endocrine glands? They are ductless glands because they do not have any particular canals. They regulate body processes and they help in the systematic functioning of the human body by secreting some chemical substances called as hormones. They are also called as chemical messengers. These hormones are the chemicals which are responsible for the different changes taking place in your body. They change the physiological and the different behavior of your body. Like in females, we have ovaries. The chemical which is sex hormone which is released by ovary is estrogen, and in males the sex hormone produced by the testis is testosterone. Children, let us start with the different endocrine glands present in our body. The first one is the pituitary gland. This is the pituitary gland which is present near the brain, very minute, but it is called as the master endocrine gland. It releases different hormones like ACTH, TSH, LH, FSH. The other hormones secreted by pituitary glands are prolactin. It helps in the development of the breast, growth hormone. Children, this is a very important hormone. This hormone is responsible for the change in your height of the body. ADH, antidiuretic hormone. This helps in the control of the body blood fluid. Oxytocin, it helps in the uterus and the breast contractions during the pregnancy. See children, this pituitary gland produces so many hormones, and that is why it is called as master gland, master endocrine gland. ADH in the functioning of kidney, oxytocin in the reproductive organs and the breast, TSH in the functioning of the thyroid gland, ACTH in the proper functioning of the adrenal gland, prolactin in the functioning of the breast. Children, growth hormones in the development of the bones, FSH and LH in the proper functioning of the reproductive organs. Like this pituitary gland helps in the proper functioning of the different endocrine glands. Children, it produces different hormones which help in the proper functioning of the other endocrine glands. Now, the next endocrine gland is thyroid. You can see this is the throat. So, on either side of the trachea you can find butterfly shaped thyroid. This is the thyroid gland, children. It is a butterfly shaped gland, children. It is situated in the throat. It secretes a hormone called as thyroxine. This hormone maintains the balance of the metabolic activities. Children, if the thyroid is not working properly, then the secretion of thyroxine will not take place properly. It leads to the deficiency of this hormone, which will lead to the swelling of the thyroid gland, and it produces a goiter, simple goiter. That means, children, here the throat, it has thyroid gland. So, if your thyroid gland is not functioning properly, there is a swelling taken place, and this leads to goiter, simple goiter. You might have seen in some people. In ladies, actually Adam's apple is absent, but they have swollen throat. This is because the thyroid gland is not functioning properly, because the pituitary gland is not producing TSH properly, and so the thyroid is not getting stimulated, and thus it starts swelling. Thyroid does not produce thyroxine properly, and that is why simple goiter takes place. Children, now let us come to the next endocrine gland, that is pancreas. It is situated near the stomach. It has two different cells, alpha cells and beta cells. Beta cells produce insulin. Children, alpha cells produce glucagon. These two hormones are very much responsible for the proper functioning of the body, because if the deficiency of insulin takes place, then it leads to a disease called as diabetes. The next endocrine gland is adrenal gland. The adrenal glands are situated on the kidneys. Now, see, this is adrenal gland. Children, these adrenal glands are present like a crown on the kidneys. They are situated right above it, and they keep changing their shape whole age. They keep shrinking as a person grows older. They secrete a hormone called as adrenaline. They maintain pH balance and salt in our body. The hormone is also called as fight and flight hormone. It is released at the emergency situations, and that is why this adrenaline is also called as fight and flight hormone. Now, the next endocrine gland present in the male bodies is testis. The testosterone is a primary male sex hormone. It is responsible for the development of the male reproductive systems. That means the testis produces sperms, and if the sperms are not produced properly, then the reproduction does not take place. So, testosterone helps in the different changes in the body also, mainly during puberty stage. Now, this is the female reproductive system. These are the ovaries, children. These ovaries, they produce a hormone called as estrogen. It is the primary female sex hormone. It is responsible for the development of the female reproductive organs. It is responsible for the development of the ova. Ova means egg. So, the development of the sexual characteristics also is done by the estrogen hormone. That means the menstrual cycle is also taken care by estrogen. So, children, we have studied about the different endocrine glands and their functions, and we have seen that these hormones are responsible for the proper functioning and the development of your body. So, the very important thing what you have to take care is personal hygiene. Children, it is very important, mainly in the teenagers. Children, you keep on sweating because you continuously play. So, because of that your body starts smelling, and that is why you have to wash your body parts frequently, and your face also, because of sweating it leads to the development of acne because of the secretions of sebaceous glands and sweat gland. The different bacteria reaches your face and it leads to the acne formation. So, you have to frequently wash your face and hands and legs. All the body parts should be washed and cleaned every day. If cleanliness is not maintained, there are chances of bacterial and fungal infections. You also have to take care of your health and diet. You should always eat a balanced diet so that you get proper nutrition for the body and your organs also work properly. So, as adolescence is nothing but the sudden development and growth of your body, it requires all the nutrients, children. So, all the teenagers should have a proper and a balanced diet. Most of you like to eat junk food, which is very much harmful for your body, because already you have lot of fat releasing by your body, and that is why if you eat junk food continuously, more amount of fat gets stored or accumulated under your skin. So, mainly in this teenage you have to avoid junk food. A balanced diet is a meal that includes proteins, carbohydrates, fats and vitamins in equal proportions. So, this has to be taken daily, like cereals, legumes, roots, tubers. You have to take a lot of fruits and vegetables in your daily diet. Please avoid junk food, or else you can see development of pimples or acne on your body. And the very important thing you have to follow is always keep your body healthy by regular exercise. Exercise ensures a healthy body and a healthy mind. Walking, playing, practicing yoga, these are the many ways you can carry on to keep your physical body active. Children, in this lesson we have learnt about the different changes taking place in a human body. Let it be a boy's body or a girl's body. We have seen that the endocrine glands secrete hormones. The pituitary gland is called as the master gland. The different hormones released by pituitary glands controls the different endocrine glands. Children, we have also seen that taking a balanced diet and a good physical exercise will keep you healthy. You always have to maintain good hygiene. So, I hope you have understood the lesson, children. For in a better way, you please read the textbook and then answer these questions. How is adolescence different from childhood? Write a short notes on Adam's apple. Why acne and pimples are common in adolescence? Write 5 suggestions to improve the performance of the endocrine glands. Children, I hope you have understood the lesson. For better understanding and good practice, please download the worksheets from SIET website.
హాయ్ డియర్ స్టూడెంట్స్, డిజిటల్ తరగతులకు స్వాగతం. ఈరోజు మనం మరి ఒక ఆసక్తికరమైన అంశంతో తరగతిని ప్రారంభిద్దామా? ఈరోజు మనం చర్చించబోయే అంశం